Welcome to the future.
My name is Heggtveit. I'm a social entrepreneur and innovator.
How are we doing today? I just have one question for you. How many times have you heard, if you just believe in yourself, you can do anything? By a show of hands in the audience, who genuinely believes this statement? Only a few optimists in the room? For those of you who raised your hands, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to change your mindset on how you may view the stereotypical, unsuccessful individuals in this world. My name is Heggtveit. I'm founder of social enterprise Boot Camps for Change. We facilitate weekly in-shelter fitness programs for youth experiencing homelessness in Canada. We also have a scholarship program, the Sweatier for the Better Fund, where we pay for youth to become certified personal trainers, hire them internally in the organization, in addition to connecting them with local job and mentorship opportunities. In 2019, we impacted over 1,000 youth. In 2020, we're on track to impacting over 5,000 youth. I'm a recent grad of Ryerson University's Nutrition and Food program with a certificate in food security, and this year, I'll be pursuing my Master's of Management, Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Queen's University with Boot Camps for Change as my project. When we think of the stereotypical unsuccessful person, this is typically in regards to lacking financial means or social capital, aka relationships. Who would be the most extreme example of this? The homeless, not only without $1 to afford a roof over their head, but also not one person, one friend, one family member, acquaintance, or loved one that they can stay with. Can you imagine anything more lonely? This is some pretty heavy stuff, so I want you to humor me for a second. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself walking down Queen Street. You see a homeless person. Do you cross the street to avoid talking to them? You won't even make eye contact with them, let alone interact with them, but you're already making assumptions about their story. What is their story? You're allowed to open your eyes now. Perhaps you thought they must have lived a life of violence and crime. Perhaps you thought they must just be an addict. Or perhaps you thought they must just be lazy, so their situation must be their fault, and their fault only, right? Wrong. These harmful assumptions could not be further from the truth, and I'm here today to show you why. While everyone in this room juggles work, family, and financial obligations, for low-income or homeless individuals, these everyday decisions involve constant, agonizing trade-offs. Should I fill this prescription, or should I buy food? Should I pay rent, or pay for my child's daycare? And the process of making these decisions, day after day, comes at a cognitive cost. One, researchers say, is equivalent to living each day as if you haven't slept the night before. But when it comes to the poor, we still tend to blame them for their ill health. I'm sure you've heard it all before. Why don't they just get a job? Why don't they just stop drinking? Why don't they just stop doing drugs or eating that junk? However, a lot of interventions for these populations currently just focus on providing education alone. Since we're failing to see the big picture, we like to believe that those people just knew these basic facts, all the problems in these populations would be solved, right? Wrong. The concept of self-efficacy, theorized by Albert Bandura as a social learning theory, is described as one's own perceived ability to overcome the challenges and obstacles presented to them. Because I overcame an eating disorder as a young child, I now have high self-efficacy, meaning I believe in my ability to overcome any challenge that life throws me my way. I have a vision for my life, not as it is, but as it could be. Do you? With this newfound self-efficacy, I have had the confidence to go after opportunities that have really helped my career. Because not only do I believe in the return on investment, but also I believe in my ability to excel at finishing these qualifications. So failure is further privileged. What does she mean, failures for the privileged? Compared to their lower income counterparts, well-off professionals are way more likely to take a risk that can result in a huge reward, only because they're certain, if they were to fail, they have the means and ability to pick themselves back up again. This is a luxury that low-income individuals simply cannot afford. A well-off student can take an unpaid internship in their field of choice, meeting all the right people to completely propel and change the success of their career. Whereas a youth living in a shelter may have no alternative but to be working full-time in a field unrelated to their career of choice, since they just need to make money to support their siblings. I want you to think about this the next time you want to put on your judgment goggles. The concept of scarcity, dubbed in the book Scarcity, Why Having Too Little Means So Much, explains why when one is in a state of scarcity, such as poverty or homelessness, they're only able to focus on the problem, the thing that they lack, leaving them with less bandwidth to deal with anything else. I don't know if you've ever been on a diet before, but it's almost impossible to think of anything other than food. It's also extremely difficult to think about implementing healthy dietary changes when you don't even know where your next meal is coming from. As Echoing Green states, current programming tackles symptoms, not systems. I discovered this myself when I designed a failed nutrition education program for a local food bank. How effective could my health intervention possibly be when I'm suggesting $6 blueberries to a room full of individuals who on average live on $7.35 a day, and I'm failing to provide them with the means to access what I'm preaching? I want you to think about this for a second. Really put yourself in their shoes. There is no worse feeling of self-shame, of knowing what you should be doing for yourself, your family, and your health, and you actually want to do it, but now you know, you just simply can't. With little funding available, shelters may have no alternative but to sustain only basic survival needs for the residents, such as heat, water, and electricity, rather than invest in programs that help youth rise above poverty, rise above their circumstances, and just make them feel good about themselves. This is why programs like Boot Camps for Change are so important. But during my undergrad, we were constantly focused on how to solve the ultimate issue of growing rates of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity. If a well-off professional is referred to me by their doctor following a heart attack, I can sit them down and give them all the information they may need and how to implement an effective exercise routine, dietary changes, as well as a stress management plan. In addition to my fee, everything that I'm going to be recommending is going to cost more than $700 a week. Clearly, this is inaccessible to most. So if they can afford it and they're just unmotivated or unwilling to change and end up becoming one of those statistics that we tend to focus on so much, this is not where the real social problem lies. Harsh but true. Susceptibility to chronic illness is directly related to bigger themes surrounding income and homelessness. Income determines one's living conditions, including access to safe neighborhoods, but also nutritious foods. You guessed it. I want you to think about this the next time you want to put your judgment goggles on. So, if you have the means to access as much healthy food as you want or all these services, and you're just choosing not to use them, hey, I don't make judgments. We should all be able to live our lives how we best see fit. So my work and program isn't for just telling people what they should do. I'm in the business of showing people what they can do. Even though there are some youth that may not use these programs for a variety of reasons, maybe they're having a tough day mentally, or they're dealing with an invisible injury that we know nothing about, our programs alone are encouraging them. They do have value in society. But through my work in my life, I've learned that you simply cannot make someone do what they don't want to do, poor or not. But if they don't have a choice to work at something, this is where my moral obligation to do something comes in. It's like a fire in me, and I want to ignite that fire in you. A friend of mine, forced to abstain from alcohol during a 30-day rehab stint. He came out and drank. Why? Because he wanted to. It's only when he decided himself that he had a problem that he wanted to fix, he was able to voluntarily use the resources around him on his own accord. So when I saw that funding was cut for health programs for the homeless, it took me right back to when I was a 12-year-old girl, dealing with the issues I was dealing with at that time. Without exercise or a roof over my head, I honestly don't think I'd be here today. So every youth deserves these opportunities, regardless of financial means. When I saw youth were doing way better at the workouts than I was, we started the scholarship program, specifically to hire these youth so we can dismantle harmful stereotypes that actually perpetrate self-stigmatization in the population that we work with. According to Albert Bandura, can you tell I like this guy? Seeing people similar to oneself succeeding also raises these observers' beliefs that they too possess the capabilities to succeed. Our scholarship recipients have not only inspired our peers in shelters, but also our sponsors. At-risk youth do want to succeed, and they can succeed. They just need to have an opportunity. When you imagined homelessness earlier, is this what you pictured? These are some of the most kind, generous, hardworking people I know. Not lazy, definitely never living a life of crime, literally wouldn't hurt a fly. They just needed an opportunity to help them realize their full potential. The gentleman standing beside me, Hashim Al-Habshi, recently came to Canada from Yemen. He ended up at one of the shelters we work at, Horizons for Youth, and I was teaching a class there last February. Without me even asking, he began encouraging his peers on the sidelines and adjusting their form. I suggested that he should become a personal trainer. Less than a year later, he's now completed 4 fitness certifications with our mentorship. Does that sound like laziness to you? This is more than I have. He now says a few words about his experience working with me and Boot Camps for Change. Please enjoy.
During my time in the shelter, one day I came back from the gym. I went downstairs, I sat down, I looked at people, and some of them, they were doing the workout wrong. So I jumped in, I started adjust their position and stuff, and asked them okay, this is how you do it, this is wrong, you want to avoid this because you want to get injured. And then Katie saw that, and she told me, you're natural in this, you know that? And she asked me, have you thought about being a personal trainer? And she shocked me because my response was, not really, because I'm definitely sure that it's expensive and you had to get a degree or something and you have to pay for it or a certificate. She told me you know what, don't worry about that. We're going to pay everything for you. You're just going to show up. Are you ready for it? And I said I'm definitely down for it. I would love that. I took the exam and I got certified that day. And I cannot explain how happy I was. I felt great. I felt you know what, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm really going to enjoy.
This may or may not come as a surprise to you, but before I started this program, I had multiple people question me. Do you actually think the homeless can work? Do you actually think the homeless want to work? Scholarship recipients are in full-time positions at gyms like Good Life and LA Fitness, exiting the shelter system and living independently. My dream mentor, Layla Jana, stated, talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. Clearly, opportunities like education have the ability to change lives, but not everyone has the same access to the same opportunities. So let's do something about that. Our programs have a huge importance for youth in the shelter system by improving physical health by preventing disease. Youth experiencing homelessness face so much adversity in their daily lives, and my program provides them with a healthy way to relieve that stress. Physical health is intertwined with mental health, as those who experience less stress get sick less often and in turn are more productive at work by taking less sick days, avoiding financial difficulty, breaking the cycle of poverty through exercise. 2 years after I started this program, I'm viewed as a peer to the youth, rather than an outsider in a privileged situation just coming in, telling them how to move and how to eat. By sharing and developing this trust, the youth are not only more likely to participate in our programming, but are also sharing valuable feedback with us so we can continuously evaluate and therefore improve our programming. So vulnerability makes leaders stronger. Let's include youth voices and how we approach complex problems such as poverty. That's my vision for 2020, youth inclusion. Because youth are not the leaders of tomorrow, we're the leaders of today. Thank you very much.